What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Genjutsu Master. Now, quickly right off the bat, I just want to tell you guys so sorry for part 1. Usually my audio doesn't sound quite like that, and I don't know really what was up with my microphone, but I think that my gain level was off. I kept moving away. I was a little sick that day. And it was nighttime, so I did kind of have to talk in a little bit of a lower voice. So I do apologize for that, but to me, it seems like you guys generally did like the what if, so here I am with a part 2. Now, when it comes to the other what if that I also have going on at the same time, what if Deku had a rage quirk, that one is most likely going to be coming out the day after this, if you guys, end up hitting like 1,000 likes. But with that all out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We pick up our story in the perspective of Hiruzen as he's looking towards Team Kurenai, and he would tell them congratulations for passing all of the D-rank missions that he had assigned them previously. Naruto would be thinking to himself that they were quite easy, seeing as he was capable of placing genjutsus on cats that were giving them issues. When it comes to other things, Shino's bugs were very good when it comes to tracking, locating, and generally speaking, things of that nature. Hinata's vision is perfect, so this team is pretty much as stacked as it's going to be getting. They all make up for their shortcomings in one way or another, and Naruto's ability to be a genjutsu user whenever Kurenai isn't there, and her to have a full faith trust in Naruto is key to what makes this team as powerful as it's going to be later on in the story. That said, Hiruzen, after he's done praising the team, would look towards the direction of Kurenai and be like, I see that your team has already done about 20 D rank missions. Do you believe that they're ready for a C rank? And Kurenai nods. She's like, yeah, we believe we're ready for a C rank. As from here, Hiruzen goes on to look at her, Kurenai, and tells her that the first C rank mission that they're going to be going on is transporting a couple of goods to the land of the Whirlpool. Yeah, the land of Whirlpool, right? Let's just say the land of Whirlpool, right? And Kurenai's like, wow, that's a bit of a strange place. Usually when we go there, it's higher ranked missions. And Hiruzen says, yeah, but it's just going to be a little bit of a trade-off, and you're mostly just basically going to encounter a bandit, if any at all. And from here, Hiruzen just looks at her and asks if she's ready. She looks towards the team and asks this gang if they're ready for this mission. And Hinata, she's like, and Shino, he just stays quiet. But Naruto, he says, sure. As from here, Kurenai's like, we'll take the mission. And from here, they would proceed to essentially get ready, as the next day they're going to be going on their first C rank mission. How exciting is that? Could you imagine you're a ninja, you know what I mean, like 12 years old, and you're going on your first mission? I think that that's awesome. I think that the feeling could potentially be compared to that of a feeling of that most of you have probably already experienced, which is freshman year of high school, where you're like worried, but you're also excited because you're finally in with the big leagues until you realize, hey, this is not as fun as it looked, you know what I mean? But regardless though, we do get into a little bit of a different situation, because now they're not going to be having to deal with, Tazuna's bad mouthing the entire trip, and it's just their team. They finally get a chance to bond with each other. They get a chance to learn more things about each other, and Kurenai would make sure that they would, generally speaking, try to get to know each other a little bit better. Try to get to know Naruto a lot better, because, she's definitely interested in his growth the most, seeing as he, just like her, is a genjutsu user. So she's very much so interested in Naruto's development, and she thinks that Naruto could be a very powerful shinobi someday in the future. That said though, she would proceed to essentially start the mission off by just walking. First 30 minutes, nothing would really happen. They don't encounter the demon brothers or anything along those lines, and they pretty much start the journey off just fine. Kurenai goes up to Hinata and asks her, what she thinks about the mission. Hinata, she shyly twiddles her fingers and she's all like, and she doesn't really give a straightforward answer, but she just kind of says, it's nice. And from here, we have her turn to Kiba, who would just kind of like nod and say like very like moot responses, nothing too crazy. But eventually what would happen is, Shino would realize that there are a couple of bandits up ahead, right? And it's at this moment that Shino would be like, should I handle them? And, Kurenai would say, no, I was actually wondering if I could see Naruto using his Genjutsu in person. As she looks to Naruto, and Naruto says, all right. He steps forward in front of everybody, and they then begin to get closer and closer to the bandits. Now, they're not sure if the bandits were going to be threatening them or anything like that, so they weren't really on guard. But as they're walking up closer, the bandits clearly started having that classic anime-esque smile on their faces where they think that they found easy prey and stuff like that. But sorry to break it to you, buddy, but you didn't. You ran into the wrong team on the wrong day. And immediately, one of the bandits grabs a knife and will proceed to say, hey, hand over everything you have. As Naruto says, can't really do that. And from here, Naruto goes on to essentially blitz at one of them, kicking him straight in the legs, dropping him on his head, as the other one would be shocked, lunging in at Naruto, and Naruto would simply be able to be protected by Shino's bugs, right? Shino's bugs would stop them, and after this, Hinata would come into the third bandit and, gentle fist him easily. As following this process, Naruto would go over to take everything that the bandits had, and the bandits would pretty much end up just kind of being shook because they're kind of terrified. And in real life, they would just kind of be standing still as Naruto and the team would walk by effortlessly, as Naruto just showed them a bit of a glimpse of what would happen if they did try to attack them. Not even having to actually hurt them or anything, but just showing them basically the future, kind of, because that's literally what would have happened if Naruto wouldn't have used that, minus Naruto speed blitzing. Actually, no, I feel like he still would, considering they're not ninjas and Naruto is, so I feel like that would still happen. Just keep in mind, Naruto's not necessarily the fastest, nor is he the strongest. He's kind of like very, very mid when it comes to that, but he's very, very good at intelligence and, genjutsus and stuff like that. Kurenai, once she notices this, she would say that that was a very impressive genjutsu use, and the way that he, went about that was very, impressive. But Naruto could have used this. She begins to explain something that I'm not sure because I don't really understand genjutsu, but she just points out some tips and tricks that Naruto could have done to sell the illusion even more. And once Naruto hears this, he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, that actually is very intelligent. How did you? And Kurenai says that she is a genjutsu specialist, that, she's the best at that. Following this, Naruto would go over to ask her if she has been able to develop a genjutsu that can alter reality. And Kurenai would say, alter reality? There's no such thing as a genjutsu that can alter reality. As Naruto just kind of remains silent after that, and they would continue on with the mission, briefly talking to each other, making small talk, until eventually they make it to the land of the whirlpool, where they would pretty much go on to have to stay there for one night, seeing as, it's already nighttime. And once they're there for that night, Kurenai in the middle of the night would notice that Naruto's not there. He would be catching up on one of the genjutsu books, and Kurenai would ask him what he's doing up late. Naruto says, have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a perfect life? You ever wondered what it would be like to have peace in this world? My goal is to achieve that someday, and I'm gonna create a genjutsu so powerful that this world will be perfect. No more war, no more injustice to Jinchurikis, no more pain. As Kurenai looks at him and would say, but that wouldn't be real. It would be a fake reality. And Naruto says that a fake reality would be way better than having to deal with his life. As from here, he says that living in the dream world is just so much better than this reality that they speak of. What makes it different? In the dream, they still feel the same emotions and it all feels so real. When you wake up, it's almost as if you lived another life. Think about it that way. That's all Naruto wants. And Kurenai, she would ponder on this. As from here, she proceeds not to really say nothing to Naruto, but tells him to get to bed, as they have a long journey tomorrow. And Naruto would do so, going back to sleep and pretty much just thinking about what Kurenai said to him, as Kurenai would have that on her head most, because like what Naruto sorry guys. What Naruto what Naruto said to her what I'm sorry. I can't get over the fact that I just straight up started just coughing all over the place. But no, what Naruto said to her like truly stuck. And by the way, I'm not editing that out. Like I'm not doing it. I'm not going through that hassle. you guys are getting raw, uncut footage, and I'm not dealing with no editing. But anyways, though, Naruto from here would go on to essentially just kind of like be on Kurenai's mind for a while, because she thinks that how could a kid think this? Like that's kind of dark for a kid. But she, you know, she holds off on it, and eventually they make it back to the village where they would be offered another C rank mission. Now, this C rank mission would be another easy one. And, you know, they have no real troubles. Nothing too crazy is really happening here. But it would be, you know, they would actually have to fight this time. They still win, obviously, considering that they have a Hyuga with their team. And Shino, who arguably was actually one of the most powerful shinobis in part 1, because of the fact that his jutsu really couldn't get countered by many other of the genins that were of his class. I think that a lot of other people, if they were to fight against Shino, would have more than likely, like way more than likely than you guys think, would have lost to Shino because of just how strange his jutsus are. It's just so different, you know. You're not really used to being attacked by crazy bugs. You're just not you're expecting somebody to weave hand signs and go crazy, not bugs to just attack you like crazy, you know what I mean? So I feel like Shino would actually be a very competent shinobi, and you know, we see it, but in the future in Boruto we definitely don't see a lot of that. That said, though, we would get into what happens after that, which is essentially just that Hiruzen would tell Kurenai about the chunin exams, and Kurenai would pass that knowledge on to her students. Kurenai doing so would actually make the team actually get a little bit hyped, because Naruto knows that he's getting one step closer. If he achieves the rank of chunin, that basically just means that Naruto's a lot stronger, and getting stronger is just a way of showing that Naruto's getting one step closer to his goal of a perfect life. That said, they would all accept, and eventually their trials and tribulations would happen, each one of them getting through with ease, and eventually they would find themselves in the tower of the Genin exams. This time around, there's no such thing as a Lee confrontation, just due to the fact that Lee would fight Sasuke, and since they're not affiliated with him, they don't really have to bear witness to that, right? But what does actually end up happening, which might be kind of cool, would essentially just be that Naruto is kind of how do I put this? Naruto kind of has a little bit of a moment with Neji, because like Neji would come up, being as, you know, he does know Hinata, and would try to like badmouth her, but Naruto would hit Neji with a subtle genjutsu that would kind of have Neji talking to himself, and Naruto just walks by with the team as he tells Hinata, come on, let's go. And Hinata just sat there. I mean, Neji just sat there spewing insults at literally nothing, as, you know, Neji looked dumb, and he finally snapped out of it a few seconds later. And from here, you know, he kind of just gritted his teeth, wondering to himself how that brat could have possibly whatsoever gotten him in any sort of genjutsu, that he's a Hyuga and that he'll never let that happen again. From here, though, what would end up happening is essentially the team would gather together towards the area where all of the rookies were at, and it is at this moment that all of them would kind of begin to just kind of like talk amongst each other, right? Eventually Kabuto comes up and offers assistance, but the team Kurenai would actually not, you know, accept. They're like, nah, we're good. And they would eventually make their way towards the written portion, where Naruto goes on to actually easily answer the questions, and Shino would be able to use his bugs to cheat, so they're all able to easily pass through that. And a lot more people would actually end up passing this portion, I mean failing, because Naruto doesn't give that uplifting speech that gives the spirits of all of the contestants up, that gives them all that I will never quit attitude, if you know what I mean, right? So pretty much what ends up happening here is we just kind of get a situation where everyone makes it outside, and eventually they pretty much end up being told the rules by Anko as to what the chunin exams outside portions entails, how they have to gather scrolls. And we would still, I'm not sure if we would still have a situation between Naruto and Orochimaru, because Naruto would be paying attentive attention to Anko, so I don't think that that situation between Orochimaru, Anko, and Naruto would go down, and instead we would kind of just get a moment where the team just kind of nods at each other, and, you know, Naruto is kind of made the team leader, right, in Kurenai's absence. Naruto proceeds to tell Hinata to activate her Byakugan to search as far as she can and see if she can find anybody that they can go after. And Hinata would say that there actually is, that she found a squad that looks relatively weak and pretty close to their age group. So if they want to attack, they should definitely go up to them now. It will probably take them about 5 minutes to get there. Naruto nods and says sure thing, but first, I gotta go take care of some business. Naruto goes off and takes a leak, and after that, they make their way towards the team. They're not gonna actually be encountering Orochimaru this time around, just because, I mean, he's after Sasuke, not Naruto. So since they don't encounter Orochimaru, what pretty much ends up happening here is Naruto just goes over and takes a scroll from a weaker team. You know, they're able to pretty much bully them and get past that part, making their way as fast as they can towards the tuning tower, making sure that they take the paths that would not let them run into other opponents, so that they could have a whole lot of an easier time when it comes to the tuning exams, right? They'll be rested and they'll be able to recuperate, meaning that they would actually get there second after Gaara and his squad, because I do think that Gaara's record was still a little crazy, that I don't want this team to essentially just beat it outright. So I'm going to be letting Gaara keep that record, but you know, keep in mind it was basically like an hour, no, not an hour, but like a couple minutes afterwards that they came in, right? And what happens after that is they just chill, like literally they just chill. And you know, once that pretty much happens, all that really goes down is essentially Naruto and the team would pretty much relax until eventually the semi-finals would happen, where, you know, the elimination round happens, where they all have to fight against each different opponents. Now, Sasuke this time around would still be in the Hidden Leaf Village. I don't think that Orochimaru would kind of how do I put this? I don't think that Orochimaru would steal Sasuke even if Naruto wasn't there, you know, so I think that he's still going to be in the Chunin exams. And I definitely want Sasuke to, how do I put this? I definitely want Sasuke to, you know, still be kind of influenced by the curse mark and have that, you know, really cool moment between Sakura and himself where she pretty much begs him to stop. And, you know, Sasuke actually, you know what? He listens. Sasuke actually takes Sakura's feelings into account, which would be a very, very strong moment for the two, which would kind of build a little bit more chemistry. And all that really happens here is they all get assigned battles. Sasuke still has to fight against his person, and Naruto this time still has to fight against Kiba, just because they're on opposite teams now, so it still makes sense. And when it comes to how that battle's pretty much going to be playing out, it would be kind of an interesting one, because Kiba, as soon as the battle would start, Naruto would place him under a Genjutsu that would pretty much cause him to think that Naruto is in a spot where he is absolutely not. Naruto would start the thing by creating a bunch of shadow clones and placing Kiba under a subtle Genjutsu that would cause Kiba to think that one shadow clone in particular is the real Naruto, and Kiba would easily be able to destroy most of the shadow clones and eventually causing Akamaru to transform into his human form, right? Sorry guys, it's just like it's sixth season, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard, and when you have to talk for as long as I do in these videos, it kind of gets to you. But just give me one more second. Finally it cleared. But pretty much what ends up happening after this is Naruto would be able to easily defeat Kiba via using this subtle Genjutsu that he would use. Kiba would go after a fake Naruto, and on the instant that Kiba would actually cause him to pop, Kiba would actually see himself win the battle. After that, he hears the proctor say Kiba wins, and Kiba just lets his guard down. After this, Naruto is capable of weaving hand signs and shooting a powerful wind style jutsu at Kiba, knocking him down onto the ground, and he would rush at Akamaru and just kind of put him like a soccer ball, you know what I mean? And after this, Naruto would just be declared the winner as he goes over to his team. And, you know, they all kind of nod at each other. And, you know, Hinata, she offers him the ointment. And Naruto says, I don't need it, Hinata, but thanks. And following this, you know, Kurenai would nod, thinking to herself that Hinata is just so obvious. And that Naruto is kind of a dummy for not realizing how much Hinata just truly has the hots for this dude. I mean, like, it's so painfully obvious. But regardless though, what would pretty much end up happening after this is we would get a situation in which Naruto would actually go over and just watch the battle between Gaara and Lee. Now, when he would be watching this battle, he would think to himself how impressive it is, like how this battle is going. Like, he's like, wow, like they're really they're really going fast, like they're really going into each other. And when Rock Lee whips out the fourth gate, Naruto would think to himself that if it wasn't for his genjutsus, he would be terrified of fighting that guy. That subtle genjutsus probably wouldn't work on him, or actually no, they probably would, considering he's not really a chakra based fighter. So Naruto isn't really too particularly worried, but that Gaara kid, he kind of frightens him to his core. But regardless though, Naruto would continue to try to work on his genjutsu skills, and Kurenai would be coaching him on and teaching him a couple more techniques, helping Naruto get to the point where he can restrain people via using genjutsus. Like he can create like a tree that would kind of restrain somebody slightly. Like it's not able to completely restrain them, but it would make it so like they can't move an arm or like a leg or something like that. And that's the only kind of genjutsu that Naruto was able to muster at this moment. It would be a very weak one, which would be very easy to break out of, but Naruto was getting there slowly day by day. And during the month of training, Naruto would use that time expertly to actually work with Kurenai in terms of using that stuff. Now, he would also end up meeting some random pervy sage called Jiraiya, like whoever that guy is, and he proceeds to train with him a little bit. Jiraiya tells him that he can help him master the power of the tailed beast inside of him, and Naruto does agree to do that. So Naruto goes on to learn the summoning jutsu, and he would also learn of the a bit of a Kurama and all that stuff, and he kind of learns how to control the power just a tad bit, how to tap into it and not like kind of lose control, because he still hasn't tapped into that power ever. So he just was completely unsure of how it worked, but now he kind of knows how to like stay in control if he was to snap, right? But regardless of that, Naruto would think to himself, with so much chakra at his disposal, would using a powerful enough genjutsu to actually alter reality be a thing? Like, could he potentially use all of the chakra of the tailed beast and potentially be able to create something so powerful that it would actually be able to alter reality? Naruto thinks about that. He's not sure, but it's definitely on the back of his mind, and it's something that Naruto has been thinking about heavily ever since Naruto was told about the fact that he can potentially command the power of the Nine Tails. That said though, the eventual 1 month of training finally ends, and when everybody returns back to fight for their like little battle thing, Naruto would not be at all scared. He's just so confident and he's just beaming with energy, right? And eventually Naruto would be called up, his opponent being Sasuke Uchiha.